So today we've come to Sigiriya, which is one of the most famous, if not the most famous tourist attraction in the whole of Sri Lanka, and you can actually see it rising up behind me. This steep-sided rock that contains a whole lot of ruins at the summit, and it rises dramatically from the surrounding flatlands around it. We've come here at 7 in the morning in order to beat the heat and make the ascent that little bit more enjoyable and easy. So, see you at the top. We've now made it up to the top, and this is the view that we're rewarded with. And I'm a sweaty mess again. The temperatures here are ludicrous, even this early in the morning. I dread to think what climbing this in midday heat would be like. It would be absolutely ridiculous. First impressions are that this place is perhaps a slight disappointment actually. It's good, but there was a lot of hype in the air around this sort of place, and I think the ruins are a little bit lacklustre, if I'm honest. I think if you were to place these ruins in any other location without this stunning 360 panoramic view, I don't think anyone would really be getting too excited. I think it's actually the location that makes this, not the actual significance of the ruins. And what a location it is very, very good. Just spin you around. You get beautiful views in every single direction. It's pretty spectacular. It was definitely worth coming here, and it is a fantastic site, but compared to a lot of the other sites that we've seen in Sri Lanka, I don't rate this that highly, actually, strangely. Photographically speaking, it's not too bad. I've shot off a few compositions that I'm quite happy with. In particular, there's a lone tree that kind of sits towards the centre of the ruins on top of the plateau, and I think that's made for some nice shots actually. I've taken that from a few different angles, and I think they've got real potential. The other highlight for me has been there's like a storage reservoir tank for water. There's some beautiful reflections that you can get in that pool, and again I've shot a few shots around that really stood out to me, but the rest of it is quite hard to actually photograph. If you look behind me, the ruins themselves are quite flat and featureless really, and then the actual landscapes that we're looking out to are again flat and featureless. So the combination of flat and featureless foregrounds and flat and featureless backgrounds makes for quite a challenging photographic location, I feel. But yeah, overall I think I've got a few shots that work, and it was definitely worth coming, but I think it's time to head on down and get out of the heat. Just before we continue, I thought I'd point out, see this mountain in the background here? This is where we were a few days ago to get the view of Sigiriya at sunset, and that was, the view from there was pretty much exactly the same as it is here really. There wasn't a great difference. But if you want to see coverage of that and the images that I managed to take from that rock over there, please click the video at the top now. Now back down the bottom, and boy did we time our climb correctly. On the way down, honestly must have passed about 1 billion tourists. It was ludicrous. This narrow stairwells were kind of bottlenecking. There was that many people coming up, and it made getting down an absolute nightmare. I was just walking against an absolute tide of humanity really. It was tough going, and I have to say that looking at how busy it is, I really feel a little bit weird about it. It's kind of like it almost ruins the place to some extent. And I know that I'm part of that problem. I am a tourist as well, but surely sites like this need to impose some sort of restrictions on numbers, because it's just a little bit out of control. I think the numbers there were just way too much, and it must be causing damage to the actual site. It must be. So yeah, it leaves me feeling a little bit funny about my visit here, like I'm part of the problem. Yeah, but we're gonna head back now, back to Habarana, where our guest house is. Gonna cool off, have a bit of brekkie, and then this afternoon the plan is actually we're going to head out and do another safari. Now this is quite unexpected. We obviously did the safaris in Udawalawe early in our Sri Lanka trip, and if you want to see those, click at the top now to watch those videos. So we thought we'd had our fill of safari, but we met some guests who stayed at the same guest house as us in Habarana, and they were very, very, very enthusiastic about the safari they did up here, and they said it was significantly better than the one they did in Udawalawe. They said that they saw about 200 elephants, all gathered in one location, which sounds unbelievable. So yeah, it seems a shame not to give it a try, and if it's as good as they say, I'm very, very much looking forward to going out again and embracing the safari experience that Sri Lanka has to offer. So yeah, looking forward to this afternoon. We've come to Kaudulla National Park, which is apparently where the elephants are at the moment, and it already feels quite different to Udawalawe. It's more forested, I would say, more lush and green, and it's probably perhaps a little bit quieter as well. But yeah, we're just heading off into the park at the moment to try and track down the elephants. But if there's 200 of them, it shouldn't be too difficult, I wouldn't have thought. But hey, what do I know? We found the elephants, and they were split across numerous different herds, but the sum total of them must have been pushing 200. There were so many. Every direction you looked, there was an elephant. It was very difficult to know where to actually train your eye. It was slightly overwhelming, and there was just such a great sort of diversity in elephant behaviours that you could observe here. We had elephant fighting, we had elephant mating, we had babies playing around in the mud, we had foraging for food, we had flicking mud in the air, dust baths, you name it, it happened. And yeah, it was quite difficult to take it all in. It was a bit overwhelming really, but yeah, really good experience overall. I would say to compare this to Udawalawe, there's definitely, based on our visits, more elephants up here than there is down in Udawalawe. So if you're primarily interested in seeing elephants, perhaps here is the place to come. Conversely, I would say, bumpy road. There's a little bit less wildlife up here in terms of diversity of wildlife. That's certainly our impressions. We didn't see a great deal else other than elephants, which was fine because primarily it was elephants that we came here to see, and large numbers of them, and that's exactly what we got. So overall it was a good experience. The only thing I would say is that, you know how I said earlier in my vlog entries that it felt a little bit quieter here than Udawalawe. I would say it's not the case, because actually when we got out to the elephants, The number of jeeps was insane. There must have been 40 of them, maybe even more, and I personally felt it was a little bit too much. At times it felt like the elephants were getting swarmed and crowded round to the extent that it was starting to interfere with their natural behaviours, and I think that's a big no-no when it comes to this kind of safari experience. So I would say, if they don't already, they need to put lower restrictions on the number of vehicles they're allowing in here, because I think it has a detrimental impact on the experience for me. At times it felt a little bit like a Disney experience. Yeah, that's the downside for me, but if you can look past that, the pure wildlife spectacle was outstanding. So we're on our way back home from today's safari, and our guide and driver have just made a little pit stop at a pub behind me. You can just see it over my shoulder here. All a little bit weird. So I think the drive home from here is going to be a little bit interesting. I feel that the tip that we were going to give them is slowly diminishing by the second. So the final day has arrived. Gutted. But all good things must come to an end sooner or later. The plan for today is pretty straightforward actually. This morning we're heading to nearby Dambulla Caves and exploring them for a couple of hours, which should be good. But that's going to be pretty much all my shooting opportunities today, because after that we're heading down to Colombo Airport, 4-hour drive down there from where we actually depart Sri Lanka. So yeah, disappointed, but hopefully it's going to be a good final day. So I'm in the Dambulla Caves at the moment, and it's typical that I'd leave the hottest and sweatiest part of the journey right till the end. It's ridiculous in here. I'm absolutely melting. It feels like a sauna. So much so that I've been getting worrying looks from other people as if I've got some sort of medical condition or something wrong with me. But yeah, not great. But well worth it. This place is magnificent and it's surprisingly quiet. If I just spin you around, you'll see that I've almost got this place to myself. Quite magnificent. I'm sure if this was anywhere else it would not be the case. Essentially this is made up of I think 5 different cave systems that you can walk into, and they're absolutely jam-packed with statues, carvings and beautiful paintings all over every single wall and the ceiling. So it's absolutely amazing to come in here and explore, and yeah, it's a great way to finish the trip, to be honest. So I've actually shot quite a few shots so far, and I'm shooting them on the tripod, and there's no one else really using tripods here, which I find quite surprising. Everyone seems to be using flashes, which for me is a big no-no in places like this. So the tripod is allowing me to get really good quality images, relatively low ISO numbers, and yeah. Also I've been experimenting with some really long exposure times as well, and that's enabled me to get wide angle shots that effectively blur out any visitors to the cave. So I think that's worked particularly well too. Overall, what a great way to end this trip. This place is absolutely magical and it just oozes atmosphere for me. After a 4-hour car journey, we're now back in Colombo Airport, and that means it's the end of the holiday. I've now got out of my sweat-drenched clothes, so I'm feeling a little bit fresher, ready to head home, but slightly depressing. It's been a really great trip down here, and I have to say, as a destination, it's a brilliant destination. it packs in a lot of diversity into a relatively small space, which means that on a 2-week journey such as this, you can see an awful lot without huge travel distances between each destination. I think that makes it a fantastic place. Now we've got about a day and a half's travel to look forward to get back to the good old Isle of Man. So that's a little bit of a pain, but comes with the territory. So if you've enjoyed watching my series of Sri Lanka videos, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be back with more Isle of Man content soon, hopefully, and probably in a few more months' time I'll have some more travel related content for you too. Until then, goodbye.